Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today from NBC News, you are gangsters. Robert De Niro clashes with pro-Trump protesters. After a news conference outside the Manhattan courtroom where Trump is on trial, De Niro mixed it up with a crowd of protesters who called him a little punk whose movies suck. Now, keep in mind here, it should be more than obvious. Anyone and everyone watching here on the BuzWeaver channel are astute, are aware, are in the know, are presented with the information here on the BuzWeaver channel. You know, I'm not claiming to be perfect and know everything. I'm simply covering the information and giving you a sense of interpretation from my particular perspective as a conservative. And it's probably fair to say that this trial is a show trial because, as we see here, President Joe Biden's campaign held a news conference outside the Manhattan courtroom where Donald Trump is on trial in his hush money case, with actor Robert De Niro and two officers who defended the Capitol from the January 6th mob in 2021, warning about the dangers of reelecting the former president. So here you have it. It's officially a show trial when you have the political opponent of Donald Trump, that would be Joe Biden and the establishment, or more specifically, the establishment, because Joe Biden obviously isn't there, standing outside the courtroom. If not, I mean, how can this not be interpreted in some way, or in many ways, as juror intimidation? Because you know that the Democrats and the establishment have an idea in their mind of what they want that jury to do. Now, as I've said many times, and I stick to this, the establishment uniparty themselves don't care what the outcome is going to be. All they need is Donald Trump's name in the headlines to paint him in a negative light. Now, the victory for the Democrats and the Trump detractors are for him to suffer any kind of guilt in something, or they'll charge him with something in this, because there's 34 total counts. But it's fascinating to me because it should be very apparent now that if you have Biden's team out there and you have the officers from January 6th and you have Robert De Niro, and they're pulling out everybody. They're pulling out Hillary. They're pulling out the Obamas. They are pulling all the stops right now. And if you want to hear just a little, we'll just listen to a little bit of this.
Are you on we step to the side right here. Step to the side.
You're not going to intimidate. That's what Trump does, to try to intimidate. We have to fight back.
You're washed
We're
up.
trying to do
You're
it all.
washed up. You're washed up.
We're trying to be gentlemen in this world, the Democrats. You are gangsters. You are gangsters.
You're washed up.
Fuck you.
So it's interesting, is it not, that the left and the Democrats and the establishment blame everyone for what they themselves are doing. They hold themselves to a standard, right? They hold everyone else to a standard that they themselves don't hold themselves to, as I like to often say. You know, they don't hold themselves to the same standards they expect from everyone else, to be a little more clear on that. So it's absolutely fascinating. But here I want to set an example. Here is from Tim Pool's IRL show, in real life show. Kash Patel, he's a former prosecutor, worked in law, and worked, of course, alongside Donald Trump there. I want you guys to listen to a little bit of this. It's absolutely fascinating.
Said the prosecution knew that information. They knew that. They should never brought this case. He literally said Michael Cohen came to me, Bob Costello, as his attorney and said 10 times, I have absolutely nothing on Donald Trump. That's what Michael Cohen told the DOJ, the FBI, the District Attorney's Office, and everyone, as it relates specifically to the Stormy Daniels matter. And then you know what the judge did? He kicked us all out of the courtroom. He literally kicked the entire courtroom out. I've never seen anything like this. The media went nuts. I mean, bonkers. They were screaming at each other. The cops in the courtroom didn't know what to do.
Wasn't Dershowitz there? And he said it was the craziest moment that he has ever witnessed in his whole legal career.
Oh, man. It was, Alan and I were like, and obviously he's one of the brightest.
And this is the guy who represented, didn't he work with OJ? And
he was
Epstein?
OJ's lawyer.
And
he was Epstein's lawyer. This guy's
and this is the wildest thing that he saw in court?
In 60 years. And the judge, you should have seen what happened behind closed doors. We got to stay. And the judge was basically scolding Costello, saying, Don't you can't stare me down. And Costello, who I would remind you, as a former federal prosecutor, one of the head guys at the Southern District of New York, a career defense attorney. He was just looking at the judge like, WTF, dude? Like, what are you saying?
Right? Because if the judge is like, you're staring me down, and he's like, no, I'm not. He's like, you're arguing with me.
It was hilarious. Like, normally you object, and then there's a basis for the objection, and then the judge, like, ponders it. In this case, the prosecutors just stopped objecting. The judge just said, sustained. I've never seen it. I was like, wow. Where's the object? Like, you couldn't get an answer out, which is why Bob Costello was like, do you want me to answer this, or do you want them to prosecute me for lying under oath because you, the judge, won't let me answer the question?
Yep.
And that's what he wanted.
I think what they do want is they want to send a message to any witnesses that they'll just claim it was a lie under oath. They will go after you for perjury no matter what. I mean, you look at Peter Navarro. You look at, they will get you to testify, and this is why I think it's imperative that Bannon resist this stuff.
His trial's next
because
in front of this judge.
This is what we saw with Flynn. They basically play this game where they'll ask you a question that if you misremember, it's a lie instead of I don't know, like it could be something as innocuous as they need it to be. What did you have for breakfast? What did I have? Did I have scrambled eggs?
Yeah.
You had over easy, you son of a...
No, your point is spot on. Everybody's like, Donald Trump's got to testify. Donald Trump's got to testify. And in a normal constitutional courtroom where he has that right to do so and not be in fear of being baselessly prosecuted, the reason, and I'm not speaking for him, but I would opine legally, is that I wouldn't put Donald Trump on the witness stand because they'll ask him one question about something he did in his past, and they'll say, you lied, we're prosecuting you for that. You lied, we're prosecuting you for that.
You know what they're going to do? And this is why Trump shouldn't testify, and why he didn't. They're going to say something like, the prosecution's going to have him on the stand and say, Mr. Trump, when you illegally paid Michael Cohen to cover up your crime, did you do it on Monday or Tuesday?
Right.
And he's going to go, I didn't. The judge is going to say, answer the question, Mr. Trump, Monday or Tuesday. And Trump's going to say, but I didn't do this. It's Monday or Tuesday, answer the question.
And exactly. And the media does the same thing. Is the way things are framed, and it's important that Trump that he doesn't take the stand. In many cases, they normally don't do this because, like they said here, Kash Patel and even Tim, is they will find some way to obviously accuse you of something. What is it? I can't remember the name of the individual, but you find the man, I'll find the crime sort of situation. And it's, clear here that things are not working out the way the Democrats and the establishment wanted it to. As a matter of fact, at the Libertarian Convention, which is where this interview took place, and of course, if you want to see this, I would definitely look it up. You see President Trump Talks Immigration War with Tim Pool, or look it up, Timcast IRL. And at the end of it, for about 17 minutes, he does interview Donald Trump, which was very fascinating, where he brought up a lot of the questions that you and I would often ask about, or what normal people would ask someone, would ask the president, what about this, what about that? It was very interesting, but it is very apparent that the Democrats are losing this. That everything is backfiring on them. They're getting very desperate. They're just pulling all the stops, and it just isn't working for them. And I think that the reason that the trial is probably continuing the way that it is because, as I've said, they want the jurors to select a particular outcome is the best way I can describe it. Obviously, they want Trump to be found guilty of anything, and it doesn't matter what it is. The hard left, the Trump detractors in my comments are always saying he's guilty of this, he's guilty of that. And it's amazing how they say, what has Trump done, what Trump done? And then I start telling these individuals all the sorts of things that I tell you guys, and they're not sure what to say, and then they go off on some kind of tangent. But it is absolutely extraordinary what is unfolding, and I would love to get your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you think Trump will be found not guilty of all 34? Will they find something in the 34 to charge him with? Now, keep in mind, no matter what the outcome is, Trump can appeal any of it. But as I've said, the establishment doesn't care as long as his name's in the headlines, and the Democrats don't care to an extent as long as the jury can come up with something. As long as they can come up with one little tiny thing to say, aha, gotcha. And just like what Kash Patel was saying and Tim was saying, they just need just a little tiny bit of an inch to take their full mile. But I do want to thank all you guys across New Tech, as well as everyone here on YouTube. And, of course, below this video, you can find the various media links and affiliate links that I belong to. So, excuse me, guys, taking advantage of that does help out the channel. But I do want to thank all of you guys here on YouTube for your guys' continued support as well. And appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications so that you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.